Can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure, I'm Connor Gallagher. I'm the show director and co-choreographer of Disney Tale of Moana.
So this one's been a long time in development,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the decision to turn this into a musical?
2017 we opened Beauty and the Beast, which is also playing here in the theater, and I think we opened it this time, January of 2018. I called up Disney and I said, hey, I think I have an idea for Moana, and I love the idea that it had never been brought to the stage. So it was, Beauty and the Beast was a fabulous experience, but it's been done so many different ways. It was like a version of a version of a version. As an artist, I love the opportunity to create brand new and to use this inspiration, this beautiful culture, this story, this incredible material that's so beloved to so many, and to give it life on stage for the first time was an incredible experience.
How tall is Graffiti?
15 feet. 15 feet, yeah. And that was also, just to speak on the creation of the puppetry a little bit, we did a full workshop of the show in New York in 2022 without any puppetry. At that point, we had been coming out of the pandemic and we hadn't done the research and development on the puppetry yet. And what it gave us the benefit was, we create the shell of the show, right? It's literally like masking tape and foam core. Milagros, our set designer, sent me basically a Tetris box of this set, and I sort of created this version of it using that. And so you get the show, you make sure it emotionally resonates. We had a lot of the same actors doing it. You have these very, very like old school techniques, and then you start to layer. So then we had a whole workshop where we said, okay, what do we need from this puppet? What do we want from this puppet? And these puppets, and what do they need to do? What sort of worlds do they need to come out of? So then that process began. And a lot of what's really special about these puppets is they're meant to look handmade, they're meant to look hand carved. Like the people on stage, if you get up close, you can see there's patchwork all over the Tafiti puppet. And that's to make it look like these villagers made it. But the very sophisticated engineering of making that like friendly to actors of every shape and size to push around the stage night after night after night, and how to make it, how the technology can work in harmony with the human aspects is the challenge here.
Tell us about the how important the casting was and casting from Hawaii and that area.
Well, when you do a show like Beauty and the Beast, or you do a show like Tangled, I'm not going to say it's well, it is an easier casting process, right? Because those are sort of prototypes of characters that have been around with us in the Disney canon for ages. So there's always a young girl who saw Rapunzel and then grew up to want to be Rapunzel. And as Disney has sort of expanded its cultural reach and you're starting to see different cultures celebrated, these kids are growing up and starting to say, oh, I want to be Moana, I want to be in Coco, I want to be in all these stories that were not given the life many years ago. So part of that is expanding where we're doing auditions, right? We're not just going to New York, we're going to Hawaii, we're going to LA, we're going to San Diego, where these communities have incredible artists but are not necessarily being given the opportunity. Or maybe these artists are based in different locations, they're not flying in for one audition, right? So it's about expanding our cultural reach and sort of like putting roots down in different communities and inviting people in and gaining people's trust. Because what we also really aim to do with a story like Moana is really take care of and honor honor the tradition and honor the culture. And part of that is saying we're going to take this story and these artists and embrace everybody and bring everyone to this and come create with us, come make something with us. And the last thing I'll say about that is I love that Moana celebrates so many different has such a diverse cast, and that cast then goes into Beauty and the Beast, and suddenly you're sitting down seeing the most culturally diverse Beauty and the Beast you've ever seen, whereas you're used to seeing these sort of prototypes we've seen for decades in these stories, and suddenly these kids are coming in and they're seeing characters like they've never seen them before. It's asking up more of your imagination and how we tell stories as storytellers and what we ask of our audiences, and I'm so grateful to be part of that process.
You had a real scene stealer with Tamatella.
Yes.
And I just I turned to him, I'm like, this is like the wildest thing I've ever seen on stage.
She said that.
It is wild.
Can you talk about just
Well, if you think of the film, right, there's a wonderful central performance in the film, but it benefits from scale. That is a huge puppet. He picks up Maui, right? With a claw, you get the sense of danger, you get the sense of fun, and it's really a psychedelic feast for the eyes from an animation perspective. So what does that mean for the stage? And honestly, we've been sort of chasing it down for a while, trying to figure out how to expand that. There's 4 puppeteers in there. How do we move from side to side? How do we give the performer life so they feel like they can be comically nimble and not bogged down by a puppet? And it's been this delicate dance. And then it's about that we actually recorded that song in 2 keys. So there's a high voice and a low voice. And part of that is from sitting in auditions for years, where again, it's sort of speaking to like Rapunzel walks in the door. That's obviously Rapunzel. But Gaston walks in. What happens when that person that doesn't fit inside any sort of Disney character box, but they're exploding with talent, with comic chops, with vocals, like where do we put them? And so we wanted to create a home for that alt comedy character cabaret actor that speaking to diversity of performer, not even of cultural diversity, but for characters that people that don't fit anywhere else. We wanted to create a home for them. So that's the goal with that
So
one.
they mentioned her as female, but it could be a male playing that role.
Genderless,
Yeah,
genderless
exactly.
character. Yeah.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah. Thank
Wonderful.
you. Yeah.
Thanks for